Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it can't be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. Today is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel. Now yesterday I filmed a video where I talked about what I would like to see / hear from every competing nation in next year's contest, as well as taking a look for the very first time at 12 names that will be involved in Estonia's national final, Eesti Laul, for the 2021 edition, which will take place next May in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. The other 12 names have been revealed this evening. At the time I'm recording this, it is about 7:30 on the 12th of November. The other 12 names have now been revealed along with the song titles. I've seen nothing. I have a vague idea because I have seen one or two rumours, but I have absolutely no idea for sure about the other 12 names. So I'll be taking a look very shortly. But in order to make this video a bit longer than, say, 5 minutes, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Estonia in the Eurovision Song Contest, specifically from 2010 to 2020. So I've got some information in front of me to make sure I don't forget anything. Estonia is one of my favourite countries in the contest, has been ever since I really became a fan of the show, which was, well, I was going to say 2003. That's the first contest that I remember watching. What a great show it was in Latvia that year. But I think I truly became a fan several years after that, probably about 2007, 2008. But I like Estonia's entries a lot. More often than not, I support Estonia. I'd love to see them win again. It says here, 25 appearances, 16 times in the grand final, debuted in 1994, and won in 2001. It also says that since the introduction of the semi-final round 16 years ago, Estonia has failed to reach the final on 9 occasions and has reached the top 10 4 times, most recently in Lisbon 2 years ago. Estonia's total of 10 top 10 results is more than any other Baltic country. It's worth saying that Estonia were sort of powerhouses in Eurovision in the 90s, many great results for a country that was relatively new. So I'm going to take a look here. Let's begin with 2010. Estonia were represented by Malcolm Lincoln and Manpower 4. The song was in English, called Siren. This was the Oslo contest, and this was a very intriguing, strange tune. Gentle verses, which also sounded quite eerie. You know, you had that sort of breeze-like sound in the background, and then a somewhat jaunty chorus. Quirky dance moves, if you want to call them dance moves. The lead singer, Robin Jökenthal, he tried to represent Estonia again a few years later. Malcolm Lincoln, so named because of an incorrect answer on the quiz show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But anyway, failed to qualify from the first semi-final, 14th place, 39 points. I'm indifferent on this one. We don't get many songs like it. We really don't. But I said yesterday, we do get quite a few quirky entries in Eesti Laul year after year, more so than perhaps many other national finals. Let me know your thoughts on that. But anyway, I need to take a look here. Estonia in the Eurovision Song Contest 2010. I didn't really get into the national finals. I've said this before. I didn't really get into any national final for many years. It was only probably about 7 or 8 years ago that I sort of started paying attention to the results and seeing who was involved in those national finals year after year. What I do know is that Leena Kurma, who was the lead singer of Vanilla Ninja for Switzerland in 2005 in Kiev, an all-Estonian group for Switzerland, she was 16 then, I think. Anyway, she had a song called Rapunzel, or Rapunzel, in 2010. I can see it here. It actually won the lineup before the super final, and then it was 54% to 46%. So Malcolm Lincoln went to Eurovision, of course, but Rapunzel is a very cute happy sounding song, and it would have been a worthy representative. Maybe a stronger choice, because that song, Siren, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And of course, at the end, you probably remember this, that backing singer who collapsed theatrically. I thought it was deliberate at the time, but there we are. Other names, Rolf Jr., who is best known as Rolf Rusalu. He was involved in the national final that year and has tried many times since. And if you do follow the national finals, then you'll recognise names that crop up year after year after year. 2011, Geterjani with Rockefeller Street. This was one of the favourites to win, if I remember, in Dusseldorf that year. An up-tempo song, quite catchy, quite fun. Maybe sounds a little bit like a junior Eurovision entry, but it's currently my number 3 of the 2011 contest, and I think it's sort of had a resurgence in popularity over the past few years, probably because of TikTok and things like that. But anyway, Rockefeller Street, good song. What am I doing here? Yeah, Geterjani is 3 days older than me, I believe. Other names involved in the national final that year included Stig Rasta, who was part of Out Louds with I Wanna Meet Bob Dylan. That's a very repetitive song, but it's really quite good. Quite indie, I suppose, is the term that we would use. Rolf Jr. again, Rolf Rusalu. But anyway, Geterjani won by 62% to 38%. The performance in Dusseldorf, there was that magic trick moment. She had a couple of dancers with her, that cardboard cutout skyline. I mean, I thought it was pretty strong. You know, you can't really fault the performance in any way. There is that sort of jazzy bit towards the end, which feels completely out of place. But that's more to do with the song than the actual performance, isn't it? The result in Dusseldorf, very poor, it has to be said. 24th place, 44 points. That's right near the bottom. Went through one of the semi-finals in 9th place with 60 points. You could say underrated. 2012, now we have an absolute Eurovision gem. Oit Lepland with Kula, which means listen, finished 6th in Baku with 120 points, went through one of the semi-finals in 4th place with 100 points. This is an absolutely smashing ballad. It's one of the best non-English ballads I think we've had over the past decade, maybe this century so far. The vocals were absolutely bang on in Baku. Really fantastic. It was a very simplistic performance, all about the vocals. Oit Lepland nailed it. Taking a look at other names involved in the national final, because I do keep a close eye on Eesti Laul every year. We had Birgit Oigemeil, who would represent her country a year later. She was part of a duo. Lena Kurmar again with Mina Jan, which means I'll Stay, which was a quite melancholic sort of... It had this sort of classic, dreamy, summery sound, you know, quite sleepy but very pleasant. Malcolm Lincolnback, and various other names as well. I mean, we always get interestingly named bands and musicians from Estonia. So, for example, in 2012 we had August Hunt, Cat Eye, Erasmus Rotterdamist, Milky Whip, and Tenfold Rabbit, to name just a few. Ah, dear me. But anyway, it was between Oit Lepland and Lena Kurma in the final two, 67% to 33%. Kula is just fantastic. It's so beautiful. It builds up and builds up and builds up, and then there's that big note sort of in the final 40 seconds or so, or however long it is. Really, really fantastic. Moving on, 2013 then, in Malmö, in Sweden, Et us sax alguse. Can't remember what that means. It means, so there can be a new beginning. Birgit Oigemeil performed it. I believe she was pregnant at the time. Black and white, monochrome at the start of this performance, and then obviously into colour. She was in a white dress. This is a very gentle, pleasant ditty. Doesn't really stand out a whole lot though. And it was a very close run thing, the national final that time around. 20th place in the final, 19 points. 10th in one of the semi-finals, 52 points. Taking a look at other names involved in Eesti Laul that year, we had Greta Pyre with Päästke noored hinged, Save the Souls of the Young People. This was co-written with Sven Loimus, who's been involved in many Estonian entries over the years. And Greta, who must have been a teenager at the time, she's been involved a few times in Eesti Laul. That's the song that probably should have won. quite an up-tempo number. Lislem Salu, she's been involved quite a few times. Rasmus Ranvi, who finished third a few years ago, he was there in 2013. Rolfru Salu again. And Mei Kundimesux Korsakov Lax Elelati, which means a man from our area called Korsakov just went to Latvia, by Winnie Pooh. And this was a extremely in-your-face punk rock metal mess, for want of a better word. I mean, it's one of the most standout songs in the Estonian national final ever. And it wasn't far away from winning, you know. I never really liked it, but certainly it stood out an absolute mile. We also had Meil on Aigavale by Pöja Tallinn, which was a group, and that song was very popular, I know. Anyway, 51% to 49%. Birgit came out on top by a very small margin there. Personally, Greta, I think, would have been a better choice, but there we are. The result in Malmö, towards the bottom half, wasn't a surprise. Anyway, 2014, Tanya with Amazing. Now, Tanya is a Russian-Estonian singer, born in 1983. She's been involved in Eesti Laul a few times as well. I have a feeling she's involved again for 2021, but I'll see the list in a moment. Anyway, Amazing, the name of the song, didn't qualify. 12th in semi-final, won 36 points. Now, the runner-up in Eesti Laul for 2014 was Super Hot Cosmos Blues Band with Maybe Maybe, which I just remember being quite a dreary, miserable sounding, sort of rockish number almost. I barely remember it. I don't really understand why that song was so popular, but there we are. Traffic, which is sort of Stig Rasta's group, he's been involved with them. They were involved and finished third here. Sandra Nurmsalu, who's been involved in the national final a few times, lead singer of Urban Symphony in 2009, great result there in Moscow. She finished fifth. But yes, Tanya came out on top, 53% to 47%. The performance in Copenhagen was very much about the choreography. She sang quite well, considering she was really moving about quite a lot. She had a male dancer on stage with her. And yeah, I think the issue here was that the song just wasn't that remarkable. You know, yes, the choreography was somewhat interesting and engaging, but the song itself, I liked it quite a lot, but I've certainly gone off it in the years since. Moving on to 2015, an absolute classic, one of the very finest songs Estonia's ever sent. Elina Born and Stig Rasta with Goodbye to Yesterday. 7th in the grand final, 106 points. The public liked this more than the juries. And then in one of the semi-finals, third with 105 points. This crushed the opposition in Eesti Laul 2015, 5 years ago. Unbelievable. Robin Yukenthal, there he is. I mentioned him earlier as part of Malcolm Lincoln. He was back and finished 6th in the grand final alongside the Big Bangers. We also had Elephants from Neptune, another great named band there. The Blurry Lane. Daniel Levi, he was the runner-up with a pretty good song, Burning Lights. But anyway, 71,429 votes for Goodbye to Yesterday. 79% of the vote. Daniel got 13% in comparison. The national final performance, I mean, we all know the song. It's quite, you know, lounge bar almost. It's a very relaxed sort of tune. You know, it's not really flashy. It's not really up-tempo. It's understated, you know. And the national final performance, yeah, they had sort of furniture, if I recall, lots of lights. It was monochrome. And then at Eurovision in Vienna, they sort of had this silhouette effect, which really worked. Stig cleared off towards the end, and that single tear running down Alina's cheek. It was fabulous. It really was. It's a song that tells a story. You know, I smiled at the dog, a classic line. Anyway, it's one of my favourite Eurovision songs of all time. No doubt about it. I think it's just terrific. 7th place, if anything, a bit too low. But anyway, 2016, Stig Rasta was back as a songwriter for Jüri Putzmann. The song was called Play. The problem here, a lot of people said it at the time, and I'm sure they still say it now. The fact that this song's a little bit creepy, maybe. You know, the way that he was gazing into the camera. You know, that sort of slight smirk on his face. He also did a magic trick on stage with the playing card. Yeah, the national final performance, I think, was slightly better than his Eurovision performance in Stockholm. He is officially the last placed entrant of the 2016 contest. If you include the semi-finals, he was last in semi-1, 18th place, 24 points. I think this is a really good song, though. It's quite jazzy, quite cool and sophisticated. Feels as though it's a bit from a different era, if you see what I mean. Greta Pyre was back with Stories Untold. That's a great song. Go Away Bird, I mentioned them yesterday with Sally. That's a great song. Kea is back for 2021. She had a song called Lonely Boy, which I really liked at the time. Laura, who was part of Sun Tribe in 2005, didn't qualify, and also teamed up with Koitume in Eesti Laul in 2017, and went to Kiev again, and didn't qualify with Verona. She was here with Supersonic, it was the runner-up. And yeah, Windy Beach, Zebra Island, you know, great named bands here once again. But anyway, Juri Potsman won fairly comfortably, 45% to 29%, and then Immortality was third with 26%. Really, really great song play, but if anything, it's one of those songs, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's so hard to stage it right because it's not really up-tempo and it's not a ballad. And there has to be something about the performance which draws people in, and I think at Eurovision there wasn't much about it at all. Anyway, moving on to 2017, Koitume and Laura. Now, Koit was in Birmingham in 1998 with Mere Lapsed, which I think means Children of the Sea. That's a beautiful piano-driven ballad. And Laura with Verona. I wasn't surprised this one at all, but it was the wrong choice. It really was. This is cheesy, cheesy stuff. My goodness me. The chemistry between the two of them, to me, it didn't seem as though it was there at all. There was that issue with the microphone in the semi-final in Kiev, which Laura complained about, but come on. Come on now. It was 2 seconds at most. This song finished 14th with 85 points. The public liked it, the juries really didn't. Taking a look at the national final in 2017, I mean, Kerli was right there. She's a big star, arguably the biggest Estonian musician in the world. Spirit Animal, yes, it was fairly camp, fairly, you know, bombastic, to use that term, and it was unique. It stood out a mile. It would have done well at the contest, no doubt about it. But no, Verona won 55% to 30%. Rasmus Randvi with This Love finished third. Ivo Linna, big star, represented his country in the mid-90s as well. He was there, finished fifth. Lena Kurma with Slingshot, there she was swinging across the stage, you know, high above everybody. That was a great performance, finished eighth. Lislem Salu again. Elina Bourne with In or Out finished last in that final. That's outrageous. That was a very sassy tune with, was it the saxophone? Really fantastic. Haven't heard that song in a while. But yeah, more great named bands. Alvistar Funk Association, Close to Infinity, just wonderful stuff. Anyway, Kerli was top, and then in the super final she was beaten into first place by the male-female duo. And Verona, yeah, people at the time said, I can't believe this hasn't qualified, what a shock. But looking back, I'm not surprised. I didn't think it was that amazing a performance at all. Kerli would have smashed it. Anyway, Elina Nechaeva 2018. Now this is how you do it. A sort of classical type song. Some people thought, oh, this isn't really my genre. But, you know, you can't fault the vocals. The vocals were incredible. La Forza, in Italian, finished 8th in Lisbon, 245 points, 5th in one of the semi-finals, 201 points is that, yes. This was great. The outfit played a big part, all of those patterns and swirls on her big billowing dress, for want of a better term. Billowing, yes. Anyway, I'm rambling now, as you can tell. But yeah, the vocals were absolutely fantastic. No doubt about it. I mean, Estonia singing in Italian, because why not? Taking a look at the national final, Stig Rasta, there he was with Home, which finished second in the end, but well behind Elina, who won with 70% of the vote. 1,000 Words by Sybil Vane, really liked that song, quite repetitive, but the juries gave it 10, the public 4, and it finished 4th in the grand final lineup. Frankie Animal with Can't Keep Calling Misty, that's a very strange indie, sort of cool tune, that finished 7th, it did quite well with the juries. And then Gerli Pada, who represented her country in Helsinki in 2007, she was back as part of a duo and finished last, unfortunately. But yeah, some interesting names there. Elena, I think, obviously going to win that year, in all honesty. But anyway, moving on to 2019. Victor Krona did try to represent Sweden this year with Troubled Waters, and he finished, what, 7th or 8th in Melodifestivalen? Anyway, Storm, the name of his entry, in Tel Aviv, 20th place, 76 points in the grand final, 4th in the first semi. Was it the first semi? I believe so, with 198 points. The public liked it, the jury's not so much. It is quite generic, but it's also radio friendly, and it's just the sort of stuff that is quite popular in the charts and that sort of thing. A touch of the Avicii about it, maybe. Anyway, Stig Rasta again. He co-wrote this. Let's take a look at the national final. It feels like a lot longer than last year. But anyway, Sandra Nurmsalu was back. Kerli Kivilan, who I believe was part of Vanilla Ninja. Great song, Cold Love. Finished 9th. Juries liked it, public not so much. Uku Saviste, of course, won. No, he didn't. He won this year. But he finished 2nd last year with Pretty Little Liar, which is a far better song than What Love Is, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Greta Pyre with Qui Segi Kautan was in the 2nd semi-final in February last year and did not qualify, despite getting 10 points from the public. So it was the public's 2nd favourite. The jury's absolutely loathed it. Really unfair, because that's a great Estonian language song. And then, of course, Uku Saviste would have represented Estonia this year with What Love Is. Very cheesy, a bit of a disappointing choice. In my opinion, the weakest Eesti Laul lineup for absolutely ages. Taking a look at who was involved. Traffic with Ux Corveil. I really liked that from the first time I heard it. Stig Rasta again. Shira with Out in Space. That was a very dreamy, interesting sort of tune. And that was in the grand final. Rasmus Randvi was back, but he didn't do very well at all, although he was in the grand final. Laura with Break Me, pretty weak stuff, in all honesty. Some people liked Ping Pong by Jennifer Cohen. I was not a fan and it didn't qualify. But anyway, taking a look at the results, 68% is the margin, not the margin, the percentage that he ended up with, Uku Saviste, in the super final, 29th of February last year. 2nd was Jakob Twisk. He was the pre-Eesti Laul favourite with Beautiful Lies. Some people said that he was ripping off Arcade, the Dutch winner in Tel Aviv. Very similar, not quite the same, but fairly similar. He got just under 8,000 votes, 16%, and then Annette and Freddie were 3rd with their jazzy Right About Me, which I liked a lot more after Eesti Laul last year. Now, I must shut up. I really do apologise. I've been talking for over 20 minutes about that. It's time to take a look at the other 12 names involved with Eesti Laul 2021. Now, if you want to see my somewhat dull reaction to the first 12 names involved in Eesti Laul 2021, just watch my previous video, which I filmed yesterday. So I'm going to take a look at this. I mean, I'm just hoping for quality. Something better than last year. Obviously, we know Jüri Potsman is back with an Estonian language song. We know that Kea is back. I'm quite excited about that because I really did like Lonely Boy several years ago. And Koitume is back with what might well be a very cheesy song once again. But I'm hoping Estonia don't send him, even if the song is very good, because I want somebody different. You know? Ideally, if you're not sending the same artist as would have represented you this year, then I want somebody who's just come out of nowhere. Fantastic. And again, you can watch my video from yesterday where I talk about what I'd like to see and hear from all of the 41 competing nations which are set to participate in next year's contest. Dearie me, I'm going to take a look at this. I'm on eurovoix.com once again, so these are their words. The full list of 24 acts has now been revealed, blah blah blah, announced on Estonian television, so I have no idea. No idea. Here we go. Carl Killing with Kiss Me. Was he part of an act a few years ago? I think he might have been. Anyway, Egert Milde with Free Again. Now, what was his song in Eesti Laul? Was it this year? Was it Georgia on My Mind? Let me take a look. Egert Milde. Yeah, Georgia on My Mind. That was a pretty good song, and it finished 4th in the national final. Just missed out, really, on making the super final. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing that one. That was Georgia on My Mind was a very low-key song. Okay, let's take this steady. Rahel with Sunday Night. Don't know who that is. I will do my research. Sissy with Time. Okay. Alabama Watchdog with Alabama Watchdog. Do you see what I mean? What is it with Estonia and strangely named bands? I assume that is a band. Alabama Watchdog. Wow. Okay. What else have we got? Kristin Kalnapenk with Find a Way. Okay. Tanya. Oh, there we are. The 2014 representative is back with Best Night Ever. I'm just getting the sense that it's going to be a very up-tempo number. She is a good singer. Who else have we got? Heleza with 6. Okay. Ukuhasma with Chaos, which means chaos. Don't know who that is. Sured Tudrukut. I don't know if that's a band or not. I assume so. Heaven's Not That Far Tonight. Okay. Kadri Vorand with Energy. Okay. Ivo Lina is back. Robert Lina and Supernova with Maolen Scene. I Am Here. Well, Ivo Lina, you know, he's a bit of a legend. Is that it? That's it. That's it. I was hoping for Kerli. Alas, maybe next year. Either that or Estonia completely blew it a few years ago when they should have sent her. That's it. We now know all of the names. Based on the names alone, I'm excited probably the most for Yuri Potsman. Yeah. Koit Tume has written the Sured Tudrukud entry. Fair enough. Along with Carl Killing. Uku Saviste's song is written with Sharon Vaughan, big songwriter. He'll be one of the favourites, absolutely. Tanya, her songwriting team, I recognise those names. Redel. Oh, wow. Redel, the song is written by members of Winnie Pooh, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, so that could be a really in-your-face entry. Stig Rasta's not involved. Is he feeling alright? Gram of Fun, Christelle Arslade has co-written that one. She's been involved before. So yeah, Yuri Potsman, Kea, you can't rule out Ivo Lina, Tanya, Ukusuvista, absolutely, and Koit Tume. Those are the ones to beat. I'm interested about Alabama Watchdog. And there we go. Eesti Laul will take place. The final will be on the 6th of March, 2021. There we go. I do apologise if the quality of this video wasn't that great. I know it's been a big ramble once again. Apologies if you could hear my neighbour's music thumping through the walls. Alas. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you're Estonian, you might be familiar with a lot more of these names than I am. Who should I be keeping an eye out for? I will do my research off camera, that's for sure. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and bye for now.